Hey guys, before we get started with the list, I just wanted to tell you something. This is difficult. To choose 10 songs that are my favorite from one decade is so strange. There's so many bands that I love that don't make it into this list because they'd be better off in my top 50 or top 20, and they didn't quite reach that life-changing, awe-inspiring level. That doesn't mean that they aren't amazing, but the list that I've created here are songs that are integral to me as a songwriter. These songs are the foundation to my first album that I hope to be releasing very soon. And I hope it can give you an indication of my intentions with my own music. I'm sharing something with you guys that I didn't realize how incredibly personal it is, and a glimpse into me as an individual. In a way, it's an incredible exercise, and you might benefit from leaving a comment with your top 10 favorite songs. Now, let's get on with my list. Man, I remember seeing this music video on MTV or VH1, and it was illuminating. What a perfect blend of rock and roll and hip hop, and that art style was incredible. For a virtual band that exists in its own universe, Gorillaz have a strong sense of poetry. Lyrically, this song is full of dismal imagery and social commentary. It sure has some heavy concepts for a song with such a groovy bass line and pop sensibilities, and easily earns its place on my list for compositional adventure and risk-taking alone. Do you remember the first time you heard that bass line in Muse's Hysteria? What an incredibly jaw-dropping moment in music. Muse has a composition style that really lends itself to evolution, as you can hear from album to album, and they never seem to repeat themselves. A fun fact, when the band was asked to perform to a backing track, which is pretty offensive to musicians, they decided to have a laugh and jump on each other's instruments to confuse everyone watching. What a hilarious way to protest the degradation of live performance. Mr. Brightside by The Killers is a genre and decade-defining song that proved rock and roll wasn't dead, it was just adapting. This being The Killers' first smash hit set them on a course to being one of the most loved bands of the decade, and they continued to write hit after hit like When You Were Young, which honestly deserves to share space with Mr. Brightside on my list. Not many songs can get this kind of reaction so many years later. The Shins are one of those bands that give underfunded and overworked musicians hope of making it mainstream. Introduced as a song that will change your life in Zach Braff's hit movie Garden State, this song feels like the birth of modern indie songwriting. A bit folky, a bit dreamy, and that handmade quality, which can be seen in this low-budget music video for the song. This is a song that always seems to find its way into my head, and it has such a beautifully charming melody that I never seem to mind it. This is where we kind of veer off wildly from those popular songs and get into more of my deep tracks. Rufus Wainwright quickly became one of my favorite songwriters, and you might be familiar with him from his cover, which was faithfully done, of Across the Universe. But Greek Song hits you hard with its longing imagery of desire and rejection, and when I first heard the Chinese instrument, the erhu, on it, I nearly fell out of my seat. It perfectly showcases the sadness of the theme. The song is nowhere near Rufus Wainwright's bigger hits, but to me it has an incredible way of leaving you melting into your seat and getting lost in the smooth and tumbling atmosphere. Greek song is a song you write when you fall and try to lift yourself up. This is one of those songs I can listen to over and over again until I absolutely can't stand it and have to put it away for a year before I can re-listen. But on a side note, the Shins actually covered this song, and one of my favorite questions to ask people is which one they prefer, because it's a hell of a transformative cover to the point where it sounds like two different songs. But I personally prefer this one because of the kaleidoscopic synth sounds as opposed to the more organic Shins version. Let me know in the comments which one you prefer. I know, this list has taken a hipsterific turn, because once you mention Belle and Sebastian, it's over, you're a hipster. But Belle and Sebastian are good, and a song like Funny Little Frog is exactly what I didn't know I needed to hear. It reminds you that some music can be timeless and doesn't have to conform to what everyone else is doing at the time. For songwriters, it's an important thing to keep in mind because it allows you to create without feeling you need to write the next pop song. It keeps you honest to yourself. This is such a divisive song, because if you play it for people and have them try to sing along, you'll notice you're gonna get some strange looks. This is one of the most brilliantly composed songs I've ever heard because it toys with its listeners but remains incredibly catchy, showing that you don't have to write a song with only 3 chords and you can be a bit more experimental with your composition, which I wish more musicians would do now. Everything starts to sound the same when no one wants to take any risks. And lyrically, Your Magic Is Working is hilarious. It's super gushing and over-the-top lovey-dovey, but it's completely self-aware and discusses that cynicism that fades away when you fall in love. What should I say? Should I say that this sounds like a new Beatles song that I thought we would never get again? Paul McCartney refers to it as the daughter of Blackbird, and it's actually the first time the wind instrument duduk was used in a pop song. Is there anything Paul can't do? This song is absolutely astounding, and it shows that Paul McCartney is one of the best songwriters to have ever walked this earth. Beautiful song. It's a hard choice to make this song my top of the decade, but it's the truth. I've never heard a more incredibly written song in all those years. It's breathtakingly haunting, and its time signature is outrageously beautiful. When I think about what I want from my own music, I always want to ask myself, did I take enough risks? Did I do something special here, or did I just write another song because I could? Joanna Newsom's voice is a breath of fresh air from that horrid hipster girl vocal fry singing, and it's authentic. It never sounds like she's trying to be any other person than herself. And Sprout and the Bean is one of the most magical and enchanting songs I've ever heard. I use it as a measure to see if I wrote a song that I'm proud of as opposed to one that would hopefully get me popular. So yeah, definitely a deep track. Alright guys, that's it for the list. I hope you liked it. And please leave a comment on your top 10 favorite songs. It's a great exercise and you might find it actually a little bit difficult, but I'd love to see what you have to say. And head on over to the community tab on my channel page to choose the next list you want to see. And of course, see you next time.